What's going on, everybody? RJ Ochoa here from SB Nation's bloggingtheboys.com. Hope all is well wherever you are. We hope you're happy, safe, healthy, and we want to welcome you to the month of December. This isn't the most important month of the NFL season anymore now that the NFL added the 17th game, and I think we all think the 18th game is coming along. But you get to December, you're one of the best teams in the NFL, and life is generally pretty good for you. And all those things are true for the Dallas Cowboys. Our Dallas Cowboys are 8-3, and on Sunday night they will host the Indianapolis Colts. And we're kind of in this weird place, right? Because we're obviously excited that the Cowboys are going to be playing another game, but their next three games look so friendly on paper. The Cowboys are hosting the Indianapolis Colts, hosting the Houston Texans, and then traveling to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars, all before hosting the Philadelphia Eagles on Christmas Eve. That game is a Saturday, don't forget, in case you're trying to plan something around that. So it's kind of hard to get up for this game, right? I don't know if I speak for everybody there, but it's kind of hard to get up. It's the Colts. I mean, they stink. They're really bad. They're one of the worst teams in the NFL. The Texans are even worse. Yeah, the Jaguars are cute, like we said, but probably an easy win for the Cowboys. By all measures, on paper, there is every reason for the Dallas Cowboys to be 11-3 when they host the Philadelphia Eagles on Christmas Eve, as mentioned. And so I think it's hard not to look ahead to that. And I'm not trying to overlook the Colts, but we kind of know what their thing is, right? We know the Colts are going to try to run the ball with Jonathan Taylor. We know their offensive line is terrible. We know Matt Ryan can't do anything outside the pocket. So if and when Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, Dorrance Armstrong, everybody is able to get to Matt Ryan, it's going to be kind of an all-she-wrote proposition for Indianapolis. Meanwhile, on the other side of the ball, the Cowboys have a quarterback who is playing out of his mind right now. Dak Prescott, I said this, I did a hit with my friends at San Antonio Sports Star on Thursday morning, and my good friend Rudy J had a problem when I said this. I said, I don't think any quarterback in the NFL is playing better than Dak Prescott right now, except for Patrick Mahomes. I think he's the only one. I think if we looked at the way all of the quarterbacks are playing right now, Patrick Mahomes is the only one who I would say beyond a shadow of a doubt is playing better than Dak Prescott. If you wanted to put Tua Tagovailoa in that mix, I can accept that. Joe Burrow is coming on as of late, but Dak Prescott is playing some elite football right now, which means there's all the reason in the world to believe in the Dallas Cowboys. They have the best defense in the NFL, the best defensive player in the NFL. They have a quarterback who is playing at a very, 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 very high level. Even if you want to put Tua and Burrow and Jalen Hurts ahead of him, Dak Prescott is at the very least a top 5 quarterback in today's NFL. And then you consider the fact that they have a very friendly schedule ahead of them. And this is something we've been talking about for a few weeks now. The arrow is pointing up. We talked about how the Cowboys just had to get through the game in Minnesota and the game against the Giants on Thanksgiving Day, and everything would be laid out before them. And that's kind of the situation that we're in right now. I want to take a look at something. I reference this a lot. These are 538s. Chances for different opportunities to happen across the NFL season. As things currently stand, just so you know, I'm putting this video together on Thursday before Thursday Night Football, so the Bills do not have any sort of impact, neither do the Patriots, obviously their Thursday Night Football opponent. But this is the way things look as Week 13 gets set to begin. Now, as you can see, this ranking is sorted by chance to win the Super Bowl. That is what we have sorted this by for the purposes of this conversation. 538's quarterback adjusted ELO forecast, which basically means that they factor in the high quality play or the quality of play of each quarterback. And obviously, the higher level that is, the more it helps certain teams. This is how they view chances to win the Super Bowl. The Kansas City Chiefs have the highest in the NFL at a 23% chance. The Dallas Cowboys have the second highest opportunity, second highest chance to win the Super Bowl, according to 538. And again, these are quarterback adjusted. So it includes the schedule. It includes defense. It includes the same methodology that goes into things like DVOA. The Dallas Cowboys have the highest chance to win the Super Bowl of all NFC teams right now at the moment, according to 538. Now, I know this is kind of small, so if you want to pause it and kind of look in or maybe take a screenshot, whatever, I'll relay this information for you from an audio perspective so you don't have to. Kansas City has a 23% chance of winning the Super Bowl right now. Dallas has a 15% chance. The Philadelphia Eagles next in line at 14%. The Bills at 12% prior to Thursday night, as mentioned. The next closest NFC team is the San Francisco 49ers with a 7% chance. I know we're all rightly afraid of the 49ers, but they are a little bit behind. I think we're all kind of coming to terms with the fact that Dallas or Philly is probably going to win the Super Bowl or at least represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. It sort of feels like that is an inevitability at this point in time. And a lot of it may come down to who wins the 1 seed. I talked about this on my podcast, on the Blogging the Boys podcast network. Please subscribe there as well as here on Thursday as well. Whoever wins the 1 seed between the Cowboys and the Eagles is likely going to host the other in the divisional round. Because if you think about things the way they currently stand in the NFL, at the moment, entering week 13, the Philadelphia Eagles are the 1 seed in the NFC. The Minnesota Vikings are the 2 seed in the NFC. The San Francisco 49ers are the 3 seed, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are leading the NFC South, are the 4 seed. So if the playoffs started today, they don't, but if they did, if they started today, the Cowboys would visit the Bucs in the wild card round. The New York Giants would visit those 49ers in the wild card round, and the Washington Commanders would visit the Minnesota Vikings. Those would be the 3 games on the NFC side of things. And if you had to pick those games, Giants, Niners, Vikings, Commanders, and Cowboys, Bucs, if I had to pick those games myself, I'd probably pick the Cowboys to beat the Bucs. I'd pick the Giants and the Commanders both to lose, which would mean the 3 winners would be Minnesota, San Francisco, and Dallas, which would mean in the divisional round, Minnesota would host San Francisco. And as it currently stands, Dallas would travel to face Philadelphia in the divisional round of the playoffs. And that'd be obviously terrifying and exhilarating and terrifying again and anxious and all sorts of things, because if the Cowboys beat the Eagles in the playoffs, we would never stop talking about it. But if the Cowboys lost to the Eagles in the playoffs, our friends, our Eagles fan friends, our Bleeding Green Nation friends, they would never stop talking about it. So there would be a lot on the line. And so a lot of it is going to come down to this 1 seed. And you've heard me talk about this a lot, but because it is that important. And so if we take a look, and what you'll see here is I have added a few results from this week. You can play around with this yourself at 538 at their website. It's a really fun tool. So what I have done, what you're looking at now, is the way things look if the Cowboys beat the Colts on Sunday, and they very well should, depending on where you look. They're about 10, 10 and a half, 11-point favorites. We all think that's going to happen. And if the Eagles lose to the Tennessee Titans, okay, if we get those 2 results, and we're obviously rooting for a few other things, but we definitely want to see the Eagles lose always, but particularly anytime soon to open the door for the Cowboys. If the Eagles lose and the Cowboys win, the Cowboys go up to a 19% chance to win the Super Bowl. Meanwhile, the Eagles go down to a 9% chance to win the Super Bowl. What's more is the Eagles only have a 40% chance of securing the first round bye. Dallas has a 30% chance of securing that first round bye. And on top of that, I mean, these are all sort of directly related things with one another. The Eagles, if this were to happen, if the Titans were to beat them on Sunday, and then a few hours later, Dallas were to win against Indianapolis, the Eagles would only have a 53% chance of winning the NFC East, and the Cowboys would have a 47% chance of winning it themselves. That's pretty wild when you think about it. I mean, that is ridiculously wild, especially if you look at the way things are right now. And I'm flipping back here. At present time, Philadelphia has a 72% chance to win the division. Dallas only has a 27. So you go from 72 and 27 for Philly and Dallas respectively to 53 and 47. That is how significant one Eagles loss is, because the Eagles have a very tough road compared to the Cowboys. The Eagles have, after this Titans game, 3 straight road games. They host the Titans on Sunday afternoon. They visit the Giants. They visit the Bears. And then they visit the Dallas Cowboys. And obviously Dallas has to have that game for all of this to fall into place. It is a very, very, very pivotal month of December that we are about to sort of enter in. The Cowboys could not have an easier road. They could not. You could not come up with 3 games that would be friendlier on paper for the Dallas Cowboys than what they're about to go through right now. You could not. If I asked you to pick 3 games, I'd like you, if you want to pause and comment, if you want to pause and tweet at me or DM me or whatever the case may be, what would be the 3 easiest games? If you had to play 3 games right now, I said you could play any 3 teams you want. 2 of those games get to be at home. 1 has to be on the road. What would be the places you would want to go to? I mean, or the place you would want to go to? Jacksonville? Wow, you're afraid of Jacksonville? I mean, you're afraid of going down to sunny Florida in December, right? It's not a cold weather game. The Jaguars are not that great of a team. I know they beat the Ravens a week ago, but still. And you get to host 2 of the worst teams in the NFL at home after having just played at home and getting a week and a half off of Thanksgiving, obviously, to enter that stretch. I mean, it is all coming up Dallas right now. They just need that one piece. And beyond that, they need to take care of their own business. I mean, I'm not trying to count chickens before they hatch. And if the Cowboys were to lose a game, this entire conversation that we just had together is all for naught. It's all rendered moot. The Cowboys have to carry their end of the bargain. And I recognize that most of us, if you're 40 years old or younger, for the majority of your life, the Dallas Cowboys have fallen short in times where they needed to stand tall, right? That's kind of their thing. And I think that they are doing what they can to dispel the idea that that is who they are. They did not fall short in Minnesota, obviously, after a rough loss in Green Bay, and they did not fall short in totality against the New York Giants after a first half that was very questionable and very frustrating. The fact that the Cowboys were able to, in the second half on Thanksgiving, kind of stick their foot in the ground and stop that loss from happening, that is something that is different about this team. And again, best defense in the NFL, best defensive player in the NFL, most dominant, whatever you want to call Micah Parsons player in the NFL, they have it. They have one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, one of the best running games in the NFL, one of the wide receivers in the NFL, and CeeDee Lamb, who's finally kind of starting to take leaps and become who we wanted him to be. And on top of all of that, they have an offensive play caller who we trust to a certain degree. They have maybe the best defensive play caller in the NFL, and they have a head coach who embodies the aggressive disposition that we have wanted to see from the Cowboys for so long. On paper, it is all there. It is time for the Cowboys to carry their end of the bargain and hope that they get the help that they need. So that is kind of the state of things as the month of December begins for the Cowboys, for the rest of the NFL. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun ride. Certainly, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to sharing it with all of you here at Blogging the Boys. My name is RJ Ochoa. You can, of course, follow me on Twitter or Instagram at RJ Ochoa. On TikTok, rj.ochoa. You can email me, rj.ochoa@sbnation.com, or you can leave a comment down below. We'll get to those also. I do want to say a huge thank you to those of you who have subscribed here to our YouTube channel. We're flirting with getting close to 20,000 subscribers. Cannot believe that's the case. And for those of you who also listen to our podcast, thank you so much. It's been a really great and productive and successful season on the podcast side of things. And a special shout out to the Spotify listeners. We're, of course, available on all major podcast platforms, but the Spotify listeners who are doing their Wrapped, it's that time of year, obviously, and tagging us and listening to us and sharing how much of us you listened to this past year. Those things mean a great deal to all of us at Blogging the Boys. So if I don't talk to you between now and then, the Dallas Cowboys will host the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday Night Football on NBC. That game starts at 7:20 p.m. Central Standard Time. And when it is over, we will be right here on the Blogging the Boys YouTube channel for our live Dallas Cowboys postgame show presented by Righteous Felon Craft Jerky. Please hang out. Join us for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you can't join us live, you can always catch the rewatch. That's why you should subscribe or catch the audio version on the podcast network as well. Hope your December's off to a great start. And we'll see you next time.